This is The Locker Room, where the coaches of Husson University talk sports.
Hello everyone, I'm your host Alyssa Thurlow, and this is The Locker Room, the show that introduces you to the coaches and athletes of Husson University. On today's show, we are pleased to be joined by Husson Sports Information Director, Kaelyn Angelo. All right.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks.
All right, first off, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know that you're new here at Husson, so tell us how it's going.
Yeah, so I've been here a little over a month. I'm actually originally from Tennessee. I went to school in New York, so I graduated there. Was really into sports. I played sports throughout high school, college. I was a soccer player, so that's something I definitely didn't want to leave. And I knew that I wanted to be a part of a sports program, so everything's going great so far. I've adjusted to Maine quite nicely, so I'm having a good time.
Awesome. So you mentioned earlier that you're from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. You spent your freshman and sophomore years at the University of Tennessee. So what made you choose Tennessee over the other schools you applied to?
Being essentially raised in Tennessee, we moved there when I was 4. Being raised in Tennessee, kind of playing for a school that I've always dreamed of, because University of Tennessee was my absolute dream school. I would go and see basketball games, football games when I was little, and just being part of that big orange country, as we call it, was probably my favorite thing in the world. And it was great to be a part of that program for 2 years.
And there you majored in communications, obviously. So is that a major that you've always wanted to pursue?
Yeah, definitely communications. I really like working with people. I'm a huge people person, and I just, communication is really important in any workplace. So, I thought I'd be pretty decent and pretty good at it. So, yeah, it's been fun.
So in communications, but then your minor was in broadcasting. So was being in front of the camera something that you've always wanted to do?
Yeah, so it was kind of interesting. I transferred to Manhattan College for my junior and senior year of college, and that's where I really kind of got introduced to broadcasting. When at Manhattan you have to choose either public relations, journalism, advertising, or broadcasting. And that's kind of like your concentration. And, I really wanted to focus kind of being behind scenes. I love the behind scene work of everything that goes on in a production, and that's how I chose broadcasting. So it was a pretty easy decision for me.
All right, you mentioned that you played soccer, obviously Division I. So you were at the University of Tennessee, and what was it like playing for such a large school?
It was awesome. I can't tell you how many times stepping out on the field, and the fans were absolutely incredible, and knowing that you're representing not just the school, but you're representing the entire state of Tennessee, because the University of Tennessee is just such a big state school. And it was amazing. I loved my experience there, and I really had a family at Tennessee, so it was great.
You mentioned that you transferred to Manhattan. So what was that change like for you, and what made you want to try something different?
Yeah, so I had some bumps in roads, some bumps in the way, transferring, and we got a new coach and a coaching change, and that was kind of a bit of a struggle for me to adjust to. But when I decided to transfer, I kind of wanted to do something new, and going to New York City. I was a small town girl all of my life, about 20-something thousand in Oak Ridge, and I've never really been to a major, huge city. And being in New York City was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. I completely fell in love. But playing for a small school like Manhattan, it was great too, because a student body of about 4,000, it was such a family feel, and it was something that when I made that transition, it was a home away from home. And I love my teammates and my coaches and all my professors. We keep in daily contact, and it's just something that I'll always be appreciative of.
So you mentioned, obviously, you played soccer at both schools. So how is it different playing in Manhattan than it was in Tennessee as far as soccer and the program that they have there?
Yeah, so, soccer was very different. Roster size was obviously smaller at Manhattan. There wasn't as many people, so we didn't have quite as many fans that came to Manhattan, but it was still a great atmosphere. Having that small, tight-knit team was what really attracted me to the school. I just became great friends with everybody, and the soccer playing, I really learned a lot about myself as a soccer player, because I played forward all of my life. I played forward in high school, and then I actually played defense in college. So making that transition from a completely different position, that really helped me at Manhattan. And the coach that I had, he was just amazing in helping me make that transition. And I mean, that's what really solidified it for me as a soccer player.
So you being a student athlete yourself for 4 years, does that help you kind of relate to student athletes here at Husson?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I understand what they're going through for sure. I mean, they have homework and tests, and they can get frustrated with coaches. I've been there. That was something that isn't new to me. So, that's really why I wanted to be in SID and, get a chance to work with these athletes and let them know that, hey, I've kind of been in your shoes and I know what it's like. So it's been really rewarding so far, and being on the other side of that and helping these students, it has been really great.
So we mentioned earlier that you've been here since January, so not too long. But
Yeah.
so far, how do you like it, and how is it different than being in Tennessee and moving to New York?
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing you gotta know about me is I have moved a lot. I went from Tennessee to New York to out to California, and now I'm in Bangor, and everyone's just kind of like, what's in Maine? But, I don't really choose a job based on location. It's just as long as I'm loving what I'm doing. And Bangor has been pretty great. It reminds me a lot of my hometown, and I love where I grew up. I love where I was raised, and as long as I'm doing the things that I love to do, it's been great so far. I can't wait for the summer, let me tell you that. But it's been really great, and I've had an awesome experience, and I've only been here for a month, so I can't wait to see what else it has to offer.
Right. Well, luckily we've had a good winter so far, so that's good.
I know. They told me that it was like last year, the negatives almost every day, and that I would freak out if that happened.
So you graduated last year, and obviously you went through the process of applying for jobs. But what drew you here to Husson? Like, what made you want to come here? You saw the school, or like, wow, I really want to be here.
Yeah, so I got the job application. Actually, one of my old bosses kind of sent me the application and was like, hey, I think you might want to take a look at this. And I applied, and as the interview process was going, I did a lot of research on the school. And being broadcast at heart, like NESCom is just amazing. And it was something that, like, a kid in the candy store walk up and their eyes are just lighting up. But also the community feel that Husson really has. I mean, the staff down in Newman Gym is so amazing. All of the coaches really reached out to me, especially when I came on my visit. They wanted me to be welcoming here, and they've been so great. And I think that's that family feel, because whenever I move somewhere new, I want to feel that, like, I have a solid foundation and a solid family here, and the staff has been amazing, and they've helped me adjust. And I think that's kind of what drew me in, is even though it's small, it's perfect for me, and kind of like fitting in and finding a new family.
So obviously you have a passion for sports, and you worked in production. So how did you end up in the sports information side of sports?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because sports information, everybody always thinks statistics. And I kind of like to break that barrier down a little bit, because sports information is a little bit more than that. We deal with social media, we deal with broadcasting, because, if we want to make a video or anything, we turn to, somebody who can do that. And, that's kind of the thing that really interests me about sports information, is there's so many different aspects. You do statistics one day, you do social media, you set up broadcasting, sometimes you might be stuck on play-by-play, you write press releases, you're doing writing, you're doing marketing, you're doing broadcast. Everything that I have had in my background in my past kind of fit and mold into one. That's kind of, how I got into it. And I had to learn a little bit, like, I didn't really know much about stats, but I kind of came in and took that on head first, and really started to love it. So it's been great.
All right. So before coming to Husson, you had 4 internships.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit right out of college.
I know.
But you had one great opportunity working with Shark Branding, which is obviously works with Shark Tank. So what was that experience like, and what did you learn? What did you take away from that internship?
Yeah, so that was probably just such an amazing experience. The offices were in the Empire State Building, so that was honestly like a dream. But Shark Branding I was the writing intern, that was my title, and it was really just an interesting way to see kind of how you get different content out through social media and out through websites. And that's something that I hadn't really worked with before, and that's exactly like what we do for our press releases. We gather all this information and then we write it and then we distribute it out to whatever platform that we want to use. And you know, Shark branding honestly taught me a lot about not only business, the business side of everything, but kind of just like gathering your information and then writing it and then distributing. So very organized, like everybody at that company was just so amazing and so helpful with everything, and I really learned a lot about myself writing stylistically, so they were amazing.
So you've been able to travel and obviously experience different aspects of the business, so do you have any favorite memories?
Just kind of like with everything in general?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, I went to California for 3 months, and that was amazing. My dad's originally from California, and my sister lives there. But being able to kind of be in a city that I'm not really familiar with, I mean, that was a pretty awesome experience. I mean, I also got to sit in on a couple of editing sessions for Toyota. So I mean, that was pretty cool, and that's probably one of my favorite memories. I guess like when I worked at Shark Branding, I got to work a event for the NBA All-Stars weekend when it was hosted in New York. So that was pretty cool.
It's like the dream, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. Cam Newton was walking by my face, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are you doing here? So it was really awesome. I was very fortunate to get to work that.
So you mentioned that you've done production, broadcasting, and a lot of writing. So do you have a favorite out of all of those? Is there one that you prefer?
Oh man, that's always such a tough question to answer, because there's things that I love about it and there's things that I necessarily struggle at too. But you know, I probably am just production at heart. It's so much fun for me, and I kind of just like get this rush and seeing the lights and setting everything up. It's a lot of fun. So probably the production side, but you know, maybe I have a new love for statistics. We don't know.
All right, we are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will discuss Kaelyn's success and what she hopes to bring to the athletics department here at Husson. Stay tuned.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund reading.
No.
Let me try. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out words.
Playing world music.
What?
I give up.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
I see it!
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to the Locker Room. I'm your host, Alyssa Thurlow, and today we are pleased to be joined by Husson Sports Information Director, Kaelyn Angelo. All right, so you mentioned, obviously, you had 4 internships, so is there anything that you've worked on, like a favorite event of yours?
Probably Tennessee football games. I mean, it can't get any better than that. Like, we have one of the best, I mean, I'm a little bit biased, we have the best fans in the country. They're so crazy, they're so loud, and when you just hear that Rocky Top going through the stadium, you know, it's an awesome feeling. And even though, you know, you're working from 6 a.m. until however late at night, it's 100% worth it, because like being part of that atmosphere is amazing.
Like on my bucket list to go to a Tennessee game.
Yeah, I mean,
really?
I mean, we can road trip down, and don't worry, you got a place to stay, you're good. It'd be so fun.
All right, so for many, when you say I'm a sports information director, most people look at you like, I don't know what that is. So when people ask you, what do you say?
You know, I'm glad that you brought that up, because so many people are like, what's an SID, what's a sports information director? But you know, I tell them that we the sports information department, we relay anything, any information that we get about our sports teams, whether it be basketball, football, lacrosse, anything that goes through us, out to the website, out to the media. You know, we take care of interviews, anything, any information that you want to know about the sports, we can give that to you. You know, it's really an important part of the athletic department. So.
Yeah. And obviously, you know, many sports information directors say that the job is not 9 to 5. You know, it's like the one thing they tell you. So do you feel that that applies to you here at Husson as well?
Oh, definitely. I mean, weekends I'm traveling with the basketball teams, so it's definitely not a 9 to 5 feel. And you know, it can be a little crazy at times, but I never wanted the 9 to 5 job ever. Even when I was in college, I was like, I want to work something where I'm on my feet constantly, or I'm working with so many different people. You know, even though I have a desk, you know, down in the Newman gym, I'm always up with talking to different coaches and planning in different meetings. And that's what I love, is I'm doing so many different things, and I have 21 sports that I have to deal with. But it's great because I can be working with basketball one day, lacrosse, you know, the next few hours, field hockey. So it's a great kind of like bounce around between it.
Right. So you touched on it a little bit, but what does a typical day look like for you?
Typical day, I mean, usually it kind of depends. So like, I guess right now we're talking about basketball season, you know, winter sports, we're transitioning into our spring sports. So, you know, I'm just trying to get things down for game days that we have to do. You know, we have game programs, we have to set up broadcasting, set up the statistics. We really just kind of like get all the information out as possible for basketball. And then, you know, for softball, baseball, and all my spring sports, I'm kind of just doing, you know, like preseason polls, kind of like tedious work that I have to do like in office, nominations for certain players. So we're kind of like diving a little bit into that spring, but, you know, right now I'm just kind of focused a little bit on finishing up my winter sports.
So you kind of mentioned getting the information out there. So obviously a lot of athletics departments around the country, they're looking for social media. They're looking at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, really looking to push that information. So do you think that's something that you'll utilize here more at Husson?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely kind of the one thing that I touched on when I came here for my interview. You know, I have a lot of social media background. I did social media at Shark Branding. I also did social media for Tennessee. And that's kind of the one thing that I think is really important in a sports information department, because everybody's always on their phone. I mean, let's face it, everyone's at the dinner table, they're on their phones. So, you know, I want to provide that information out on Twitter, on Instagram. Hey, we have a game. Hey, this is a score update. You know, 10 minutes left. Husson is battling, you know, down by 2, or anything that I can put on Twitter, Facebook. I want to let people know, and, you know, I think that that's pretty important.
So we touched on it before, but obviously you came in the winter season, right in the middle of basketball season, one of the busiest seasons we have. And you have many jobs, you know, updating social media, doing rosters, all that type of stuff. So what is it like working in such a fast-paced environment?
You know, it's really great. I mean, sometimes I look at my watch and it's like 4 hours have gone by, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe that I've done so much stuff. But it's really awesome. And the great thing is, like, I have a huge support staff that will help me, you know, if I'm a little, like, kind of hectic with some tasks, then they'll, you know, take on something, and it's really great. But I love the fast-paced environment. I mean, people see me around the gym during games. I'm honestly like running around in heels, like trying not to fall, but trying to get these stats to all these coaches. So it's really fun. You know, I love it. So it's awesome.
So you've covered many sports, and I know you played soccer, but do you have a favorite?
Basketball, 100%. I can't even begin to tell you how much I'm a huge basketball fan. I mean, that's something that me and my mom kind of share together. And, you know, when March Madness comes up, like, my office is completely closed. Like, don't mess with me. I'm in Game Zone Central. Like, I love everything to do with basketball. But also, I'm a huge football fan. I mean, being in the South, that's like the cream of the crop. It's all football. And, you know, I'm a Vol fan at heart. I mean, you can't mess with my Vols. So I'm a huge football fan as well.
You know, you graduated in May.
Yeah.
You went through the whole experience of getting a job. So what advice would you give someone who is just graduating or looking to go into the field?
Yeah, I got you. I mean, my biggest thing is honestly probably just keeping constant communication with your professors. I cannot tell you, at Manhattan College, amazing, amazing professors. one of my broadcasting professor, I had him for 4 semesters, and he really helped me. He got my first internship at a post-production company. He helped me produce one of my videos for application submission for Saatchi & Saatchi out in California. So really just keeping in constant contact with your professors, because they've been in the business, they've been to college, they know everything, they can help you out, and they want to see their students succeed. And that was just kind of the biggest thing for my professor, is when I would come to him with, hey, oh my gosh, I got this job for the internship, you know, he was so happy for me. And, you know, that relationship was just amazing. And, you know, just really keeping in contact with your professors and anyone that you meet that's in the business, because it's a huge networking circle.
So here in NESCom, we obviously have a sports information class, but do you wish that to have like a program that specifically focuses on the sports information part of the business?
You know, that's a really good question. I mean, yes and no, because it's great. Some people, you know, they have a class for statistics, but they might not have a class on like taking stat crew, which is like what you need to know. So, you know, that would be great, but I really think that if you kind of just utilize your different tools, you know, you would be prepared for sports information. And, you know, it'd be great if we could have a class, but, you know, that would be it could be a little difficult to kind of just like bring in the mix, because sports information has been around for so long. So, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so you worked in production, you worked in marketing, and one really cool project that you're working on right now is a hype video, obviously, for the men's basketball team. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, the hype video it's awesome, because, you know, I know a lot of different schools use these hype videos, and it's kind of something that they do to get either prepared for the season. I mean, usually they're at the beginning of the season, but I came through kind of towards the end. So I'm working on this hype video to kind of get the guys pumped, get everybody at Husson pumped that, you know, the conference tournament's coming up and it's going to be really awesome. And, you know, it's been cool because the guys really haven't kind of had that experience where they have all these cameras and taking so many shots and doing voice recordings. You know, they're kind of coming up to me being like, what are we doing? But they're having a great time, and that's what I like to see, is just kind of like letting them know that, hey, like, we can do all of this, and I hope to do that with all the other sports too, to get them excited for their season.
All right, so we have that video here. Let's go ahead and take a look.
17 All-American selections. 10 national tournament appearances. 4 North Atlantic Conference championships.
It's time for a 5th.
This is Husson Eagles basketball.
I get chills
every
time.
That's what I'm saying. I love it. I honestly sit at my computer and like I just watch it over and over and over again.
I know.
It's great. It's great. It's really. I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So you mentioned you want to do more things like that. So what do you hope to bring to the table as far as doing that with other teams?
Yeah, I mean, kind of just the same type of things. I mean, bringing these guys to a shoot where they, you know, have cameras and, you know, they can kind of show off a little bit, and like same with like the girls teams too. I mean, just kind of really showing them that sports information is kind of like bringing something new to the table, and having these videos, I think, would get people really excited for the season, and alumni can see that we're doing something a little bit different. So I think that it's really great.
Awesome. And we mentioned you've been here since January. So when you're not working, we know you work a lot, but what do you enjoy about Bangor, and what are some of your hobbies here?
It's really funny because, you know, when I moved here, everyone was like, oh my God, you're from Tennessee. Like, how are you dealing with the cold? But I love the snow. I love it. I mean, I went snowshoeing and I was out there for like 4 hours and I just had so much fun. But I'm an avid skier. I've been skiing actually ever since I was 7. So I ski. I really want to learn how to snowboard. So that might be something that I can take on maybe. But yeah, and I love music, and I hear the concerts are going to be amazing in the summer. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me.
All right. So when we come back, we will recap our Husson Athletes of the Week. So stay tuned.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Want your education to look like this? Or this? The New England School of Communications. Your passion, our experience, your future. Visit us online at nescom.edu.
Welcome back to the Locker Room. I'm your host, Alyssa Thurlow, and before the break, we were pleased to be joined by Husson Sports Information Director Kaelyn Angelo. We will now turn our attention to the Husson Athletes of the Week. We'd like to congratulate this week's Athletes of the Week, Raheem Anderson of the men's basketball team and Aaron Ellison from the indoor track team. Congratulations to both of them, and good luck to all the teams this week. That's all the time we have for this episode of The Locker Room. We would like to thank Kaelyn for coming on the show today. You can follow The Locker Room on Twitter at lockerroom_TV. If you'd like to watch this episode or any previous episode again, go to our NESCom Journalism channel on YouTube. You can catch the next edition of The Locker Room on Friday, March 4th. For everyone working hard behind the scenes, I'm Alyssa Thurlow, and have a great rest of your day.